Okay. Do you want to since this is so uneventful, you want to debate the wage gap?
Uh, I'll debate the wage gap. Why not? If Sterling doesn't
Okay,
want to.
sure. Okay, sure. So, do you not want me to use sources because I have sources at hand? So,
I don't have sources at hand, so
okay,
you
that's fine. That's fine. So, do you agree that it's undeniable that um there there is, not considering occupational time, hours worked, et cetera, there is a gap between men and women.
So like what you're saying is that the average man makes more than the average woman.
Sure. Yeah, that's basic. Yeah, basically.
Is
Do you
that
agree on
bad?
that?
Is it bad that like
Sure.
men
So
can do?
this is the issue. Wait, one second, one second. So this is the issue. Okay, I hate when people try to argue against the wage gap. Okay, the argument should not be does it exist. It should be, is that bad? Should we do anything about it? And why does that happen? Right?
Well,
Do you
that's
agree on that?
because
Like it should.
that's because all the retards at our age, they're debating whether it exists because they're under the assumption that when someone says that a woman makes 70 cents to the man's dollar, that it's like literally like if little Johnny gets a paycheck for $10, a little Mary's paycheck will be $7. Like that's simply not the case.
Sure. But wait, do you also acknowledge that there's a 7% disparity even when we take into account occupation and hours worked? Do you acknowledge
I
that as well?
can't confirm nor deny that because I've never heard that before. Not gonna lie.
Okay,
So if you
well, there was, maybe I'm wrong, but there was research done, and there is a 7% disparity between that. Women make 93%, not 70% as many people say, but, or sorry, not 70%, 77%. Most people say 77%. Um, there's a 93% too. So 93 cents per the dollar. So a 7% disparity.
But like what do you mean? So like let's say little Johnny works 8 hours at Subway and little Mary works 8 hours at and
Yes, when you take
Johnny
into account.
gets $10 and Mary's 93 cents or what? Is that like legitimately what you're gonna tell me?
All I know is there is, even when taking into consideration occupation and taking into consideration hours worked, all of the so the main criticism of the 70 cents to a dollar is that they don't take into consideration all those things, right? But
Yeah.
when you do take into consideration all those things, there is still a 7% disparity. That is the issue.
Like I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just don't think you're right because like if that were true, people that actually maybe it's just like a really like underground fucking statistic that no one knows. Like there are like 10 people in the world that know about it.
Uh-huh.
There's some shit,
Well,
right?
wait, you might actually be right. One second. Do you want me to give you my source? It's not obscure. It's not in. Maybe because people don't like, they don't read. Like when somebody says, "Hey, here's my source," they're like, "Oh, okay, you're right," and don't bother reading. So they might not know that. But
Like, cause
like,
like I feel if it's like a source that's out there, like someone would have heard it before. You know what I mean? Like I've never heard anyone bring this up ever online or like in person. Like I've never heard this before in my life. So if
so again, this is the issue. This is the issue.
like maybe
Is that this is not it? It's just that the person who, or not the person, the organization that made it is not like an obscure organization, right? It's pretty well respected. It's just that a lot of the people you're debating.
hello.
He he gone. What the fuck? Hamilton.
Ham just
Damn.
like
Did somebody
Damn.
did somebody did somebody kick me out, or did I just like, okay? I just,
you got muted and deafened. So I don't know if you
I
did
think
that
you
to
just went
yourself or
autismo mode.
no, I just,
like your
I don't know
mic
what
cut
happened.
out. I left and joined back. Then I saw that you were muted and deafened. So maybe someone fucked with you. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, somebody might have memed me. All right. What did you last hear from me?
Um, you were talking about like the source is pretty well respected.
Yeah, it's not an obscure source, right? It's just that probably the people you're talking to don't like reading a lot, I guess.
Well, yeah, but
It
like
might.
feel like I would have seen it somewhere. Like
Sure.
under all the bullshit or like somewhere online. Like I don't know, maybe I just don't
Well, this
maybe
is
I'm
the
not
day
as
you saw
well
it. Do you
versed.
want me to give it to you?
Yeah, go read.
All right, one second.
I
Let
just
me.
had
It's on my
two.
laptop. It's on my laptop, so I'm gonna have to take a second. Sorry, buddy.
Like yeah, that's fine. And it's like it's like womenartoppressed.org.
So
Womensdemandliberation.com. Who memed on
Swag, you're
Ham
not
again?
funny.
What do you
I think
mean?
he's
I'm
just.
not funny.
I think he just muted himself because.
wait, what the
You
fuck is
can't even say
happening?
it's like me. I don't even know how. I'm not like
I'm
an
not saying
as.
it's you. I'm not
I
saying it's you.
I could do
I'm
that
not
if I
saying.
tried. I
I'm
wouldn't know
not
how
saying
to
it's
do
you.
it.
Dude, I never said it was you.
I
Something's
never.
happening.
No. You like stop doing shit and feeling was like you're not funny, Swag.
Oh, swag.
So,
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
what correlation does that have?
What correlation?
You know what?
Wait, did he say that because? Never
Okay,
mind,
so
bro.
he's. It doesn't matter. So I'm sorry. This is. Let me get in my Google Docs. Sorry,
This is
I usually have.
terrible.
I love how we're like 6 minutes in. This is already more productive.
Well, one may argue that simply agreeing with me is more productive, but you know.
Well, I mean, like at like.
uh, I'm kidding. All right. Okay. So you acknowledge like the debate should be rather than does it exist? We should argue why it exists, right?
Yes, unless you're like fucking source is like rock solid and just indisputable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, generally, I would agree that like
But like, let's say, just for the sake of argument, let's say,
the averages, right? Like, no offense, right? But like, assuming that your statistic is false and there's no like for the same exact work, there's no disparity or whatever the fuck you said, right?
disparity.
Like yeah, disparity between men and women. That's just like the average man makes more. We could argue whether that's like okay or if there should be something done
Yeah,
about that.
yeah. But like, even if that was, we could still go back to the average man making more than the average woman, right? So like, we could take in a we could we could argue like, is the social factors and other
Yeah.
factors that go into it, is that okay? Should we try to fix that, or is that something that is just like is just there and we shouldn't really bother with it, you know?
At least you agree that it's just like the average and not that like there's just like this
Well, yeah,
hardcore.
because I'm not a dishonest person. If I was making the argument that it literally was that like every woman makes 70 cents to a dollar, like $7 per 10, like per $10 every on every job, like that would be pretty ridiculous. I'm not dishonest with my statistics. If you like have like a high school level of reading, like you should be able to decipher what these mean. So like, it's
Yeah.
not very complicated. Um, are you reading over the document or no?
Oh, did you send it? Here we are.
Yeah, it's in Mute Boys. So like, let's, for the sake of argument, we could like say like, hey, that's fake, right? We would still have to say like, hey, men are more likely to negotiate for better wages, right? Which then we would have to argue why that happens. Are men just simply inherently more
Well, I
assertive?
don't think you
Is
can
that a
really
thing?
prove that. Like, can you really prove that? I guess it's kind of
Yes,
like
when yeah, you can. So have you actually never heard that men are more likely to?
no. Like I've heard it, right? But I've never
Mhm.
heard any reasoning behind it or why it
Sure.
happened.
I know you're gonna say, "Ha ha, Washington Post," but like there are sources there that you can
What?
read. Yeah, you could still read it if you'd like. And even if that was fake, right? You would still have to go into Women generally have different meeting styles due to their environments, right? According to this, 1 second. I know I
Can
said
you
I wouldn't use
can,
sources, but this is a pretty
yeah.
hard to debate if you don't use sources. Right?
Can you direct me to where I find the statistics?
Hashtag
'Cause this is
mute
64 pages
this
fucking long.
mute. Wait, where? The seven
In the
percent disparity?
64 pages long. Like,
Oh, the fucking hell. 1 second.
let's see.
Can we just go and do the assumption that it is there? Because I don't really feel like looking for it again, and I think that'd be super fucking boring.
Well,
Again,
how
it
about
doesn't. This
how about it is undecided until we actually use it to support one of our arguments? Is that
okay, fine. Sure. Yeah, we're not necessarily saying it's fake. We're not necessarily
Yeah.
saying. Okay, fine. So let's just ignore this, right? But we still do agree that an average man still does make more money, right?
Yeah.
Not regarding occupations and hours, right? You still acknowledge that?
Yes. Well,
Oh, okay. So
occupations and oh,
what?
regarding occupations and hours, the average man makes more. But saying with that would mean like no matter what.
Are you
So
cutting? I'm sorry. Are you cutting out just for me? Is that my internet, or is? I'm sorry.
I don't think I'm cutting out. You're not cutting out for me, so I don't know.
Okay. Can you repeat your statement? I'm sorry.
I said I I don't know. I don't think it would be disregarding um hours
No,
and
I'm saying the common the thing like the rhetoric people spout, right? Like 70 cents to $1, that shit, where they right? You acknowledge that like on average
on average
men more
starting
make.
and job the average man makes more, but saying
Okay,
that
yeah. But like
job
in your opinion, you would argue that if they were in the same position or occupation, they would make the same amount of money, right?
yeah
Even though they'd still make 7% less. But whatever. Anyway,
undecided.
uh, uh, so like even if that's true, right?
Uh-huh.
Even though it's not, but like let's say it is true, what you're saying. We would like men being more likely. Do you think like women are just inherently like genetically more prone to having like easier jobs or no jobs at all? Do you think that's like
I wouldn't say
or
it's genetic, but I'd say it's more of a social thing. How
sure, there
like
you go.
in the 1800s and 90s that women were kind of like pushed to be more of a housewife and not really work.
Yeah, and
Like when you think of like a cliche family, you think of the
yeah,
stay-at-home
like
mom
generals, right?
and the dad
Exactly. So like
providing.
you acknowledge that these mindsets can still have despite being a long while ago, these mindsets still can have an effect on our society today, correct?
Yeah, something.
You
Yeah.
sure. So why do you think we should fix that, or do you think it's okay?
How do you propose fixing that? Do we just
So
brainwash all the women?
oh, of course not.
Like,
Of course not. Just like in the when was it? Like the generic like 1900s family, right? With you know, again, like more representation, more strong
we're
headstrong
gonna rewrite
females.
history.
No. In our current year, like
Okay.
right now, we could make movements, right? And we could make more representation in media, right? And having more diverse characters. Of course, you could still have that housewife who is submissive to her husband. That's fine, whatever. Who cares? Okay, but when that's all there is, this generally has an effect on people, right?
I
Um,
believe. Well, okay. I believe that, like in this day and age, that most of the time it isn't just like the housewife is submissive to the
of course, yeah.
to the
No, you're right.
I believe that right now it is actually more since because like women's rights and shit that a lot of the change is happening, and more often than not
Do you think this is
women is
negative? Wait,
deciding.
wait, before you continue, do you think this is negative?
What do you mean?
Like
What?
that we are starting to have more women represented with more diverse character traits.
Well,
Do
I
you think
mean,
this is a negative?
I think in almost everything would be like better because like you can't just have like the same black and white characters per se. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
sure.
Because if every character just kind of like follows the same like morals or stuff like this, or the kind of like traits like that, like if every character is just kind of cliche,
Hmm.
I feel like it would get like dull.
Sure, like in a storytelling, of course, that's positive, right? You want more diverse characters, so it's more interesting. But I'm saying on a societal level, right? The effect it has. Do you think this is a negative or a positive on us?
Uh,
Or do you think it's indifferent, which is a third option you could also say?
yeah, I think it's really indifferent. Like I don't think that it's necessarily like super positive, but I don't really feel like any
Can you
negative in it per se.
can you tell me? So you know the topic beforehand, right? The generic housewife that's
Yeah.
submissive to her husband, like back in the
Uh-huh.
1950s or something, right?
Yeah.
How do you think personally they did that? Like
What?
they had that mindset.
Um, I couldn't tell you.
So you
I
don't think there's any
I
influence like in media and in general in general stigmas towards people and like you don't think there's
well,
any
I well
influence there?
yeah, I think that it was based off like the fact this country was like more like founded on like just men being worth more than women, and then we already
Mhm.
kind of this like ever since this country was founded, and even like before then we were just like the 13 colonies. We had kind of like these values. Women were like less than men. Like these values have
Yeah.
existed thousands of years. Now I can't really tell you when they originated or why, but they just kind of have been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, sure. So if we somehow, okay, just for the sake of argument, if we changed this mindset, okay, because even if you think we already have changed this mindset, you would acknowledge that that decades upon decades upon decades of this mindset would still have a lasting effect on our society, right?
Yeah.
So making active changes, right? Making active changes would speed up this process of changing the mindset of people, right?
Sure.
You think that would be do you think that would be a positive thing?
Um. Again, it's kind of in the middle. Like I don't see like really because like the average man makes more than the average woman.
Yeah.
Not because like the man's just paid more because he's a man. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Like
exactly. Wait, exactly. No, hold on. Exactly. A previous argument I made. Men are more likely to negotiate or ask for, um, fucking better wages, right?
now, do you believe
They're.
that's a social thing, or do you believe that's like a genetic thing?
I don't think that's genetic. I don't think that's genetic.
What do you
If
believe? Think it's a social thing, or
Yeah,
what?
I think most people's behaviors. So, do you know what like determinism is?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Like
most
most
people's behaviors
everything.
are dictated by previous experiences, right?
Okay.
And how they handle those things are dictated by previous experiences, right? So generally, society has a large impact on your experiences. Therefore, it would logically follow in that line of thought that society has an impact on uh, how you carry yourself, I suppose would be the best term.
Can you explain to me how society um what's the word for it? How society and like where many people are brought up in influences men specifically to ask
Sure.
higher wages?
Sure. I'm not necessarily
Or
higher wages, right? Not
yeah, that
like nobody, no parent is probably going to say specifically, hey, Johnny, 30 years from now, when you get a job, you have to act very headstrong and ask for better wages, right? Nobody really does that. It's just there's very incremental type things. I think this is pretty well studied in psychology, but maybe not. Um, so like generally promoting headstrong attitudes or gender roles or things like that, right? Um,
yeah.
so again, back to the example of like the generic housewife back in the 1950s, right? This childhood, right, where you're very easily influenced, can dictate a lot of things you do later in life. Again, so not necessarily society, I guess that would be a wrong term, but how you what you learn in your childhood, I suppose, would be a better thing to say. Is that better?
Sure.
Okay. Um, so later in life, this can affect you, right? Your personality, your anything, really. So again, it's not a literal thing where it's like, hey, Johnny, 40 years from now, get a get a better wage by negotiating, right? It's the attitude and things you learn that would eventually lead to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can I ask you a question?
sure,
If
go
you
ahead, man.
because I feel like we're just kind of like saying the same thing. Why do you
Sure.
believe that, or do you believe that it is negative that men are on average paid more than women? If so, why?
Uh, so yes, I think so. So like basically, okay. I don't think people should be treated differently based purely on sex, right?
But
Um,
not, but they're not. It's not that
sure.
men are
I
paid
guess
more.
Sorry. Okay, 1 second. So they are treated differently based on what is inherently learned from their sex. Does that make sense? Is that a better term? Is that a better way of
How does that?
it?
Could you give an example?
So again, back to like the generic 1950s housewife, when you are learning to be submissive, to be a housewife, to be, you know, as a young child, right? As a young girl, you're probably learning that, right? Is this
Okay.
is this is this genetic within a girl? Probably not. Okay, but you're treated differently because of these things you learn, right?
Uh, sure.
Okay, so I think that I, I think that everybody should probably have a fair chance, right?
Well, are you saying that women don't have a fair chance because of like the 1950s
By the way they're raised,
AS
probably not. No.
housewife?
Yeah, probably. Well, obviously, the 1950s generic housewife is an extreme. Okay, I'm simply saying that has lasting effects on how we think today, right? That was an extreme example from way back when, but I'm simply saying that's how it affects us still today. I would argue.
Do you believe that any more measures need to be made to accomplish this goal, and you don't think that us
Um,
giving a generation?
so
Wait,
more again, more representation in media probably. Just parents playing a lot less into the gender roles mindset, I guess. Um,
well,
things
of like
similar to
the
this.
wife, or like the like
Sure, like setting examples, right? Setting more women setting examples for other younger girls, right? That would be
what
that
about
would
someone
probably be
that's inspired her whole life to just be a housewife? Is there
same thing.
anything
Sorry.
negative about that?
No. Actually, wait 1 second. Actually, no. In fact, there's studies that show that women are actually more happy being in these lower paying jobs, right? And they are happy being in housewives in comparison to men that are like rich, right? But the issue,
So is that
like,
genetic or
if
social?
hmm?
Is that genetic or social, or is it just kind
I
of
would argue
something?
that's social, yeah.
How come? How come that in specifically
Wait, being happy?
they
Wait, are you saying being happy? Or are you saying getting
yeah,
put into
being
those jobs?
happy in these like lower paying jobs or being housewives comparatively to men having these higher paying jobs?
I would argue that's social because you want to be correct? Like you don't want me to just answer that flat
Yeah.
out. So probably that they so there's generally less responsibilities in these types of things. Uh, being a housewife, being of course it's still hard, but they are generally more satisfied because if I had to guess, because obviously I'm not these people, they have two people doing their own, job and do it well, right?
So where's the problem in this? If women
I'm
are
not
more
saying
happy
no. I'm
working
not
lower
saying. Wait,
pay,
1 second. I'm not saying. Hold on. Wait. I'm not saying that. Wow, you sure are a fucking asshole for being happy being a housewife.
yeah,
Okay, obviously, people should be able to have their own life choices. I'm saying, okay, that creating a society or creating environments that lead to this and not having them have the chance to go into another career path is probably negative.
no,
Um,
but they can. What is stopping them
do
from
you know what
going
the
into?
glass ceiling is? Wait, do you know what the glass ceiling is?
Uh, just for sakes, like explain it.
Okay, so like it's a very it's a concept, right? That
Uh-huh.
people have all the rights, have all the ability to, okay, um, but, but they simply can't get into these stronger positions because uh, they are basically like set up not to be, right? And the environments they're in, they're not set up to be. That's why it's called the glass ceiling. Because yes, they can do it, right? They can do it. It's that's why it's like fragile, right? It's a glass ceiling, so it's fragile, but they can't really do it because of how they were raised, right? Or how other people were raised, in fact, too, right? Creating stigmas towards them, Um,
Are we about
so
to
again,
argue the old guard right now? Like,
wait, say it again.
are we about to argue the old guard right now? These sexist,
No. What?
old men
No.
higher
I'm saying that other
possibilities
people
in
can
their
be
job?
affected, right? If if you think that every girl should probably be a housewife, right? Then and people are that girl is has been raised in an environment for a housewife, and then she gets applies to a job, then you probably don't want her in that job because you think she should be a housewife or something similar to that.
Yeah,
Obviously,
but
this
this
is
is
more
like
extreme,
against both.
huh?
It occurs on both sides. Like, I don't know.
So one more time. I'm sorry.
I said, well, yeah, you're like, well, these negative stigmas against women,
Yeah.
uh, like, evidently hurt them, but there are also negative stigmas against men.
Do you think like there's negative stigmas towards like men that stand and or stay home, or what do you mean?
Um,
And
well,
do you think these are as harmful?
like I was mainly just like it's not necessarily relevant, but I'm just saying that there are like negative stigmas in both cases.
Sure. So this is like another thing, right? Like kind of like in like racism, right?
Yeah.
Racism, there are tangible effects towards Black people and minorities,
Uh-huh.
right? Eh, Um, because of racist people, right? But there are also there's still racism towards white people, okay? It's just that it's less tangible. It's less it matters a lot less because the effects don't really hit them, right?
Okay. That's
So
fair.
similar to this, right? Similar to this. There are stigmas towards men, 100%. And they, if there are issues arising, like they want to get help because they're feeling down because of these or whatever, 100%. I'm not, you shouldn't make fun of them or whatever. Okay? That's fine, but they aren't as tangible as say towards women, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Uh,
So your question originally, I think, was, is it bad that these people are like women are not in are not getting equal pay because they don't want the same jobs, right?
Yeah, what is negative about that? Like, if the woman does not
I
want a higher paying job, like,
One second.
like they're not
If I'm
setting
not mistaken, if I'm
saying,
not
"Hey, I'm
mistaken,
a housewife."
you're reading Brave New World right now, right, Swag? Like I gave you the Brave New World PDF and
Yeah,
you're reading it, right? So
yeah,
in that society, there are
yeah.
certain classes, right? Each class, they are classically conditioned to hate each class. They are happy where they are. They want to be where they are. Do you think that's okay because they want to be there, even though they were classically conditioned to be there?
I don't think that's an equivalency. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, obviously it's more extreme, right? We don't classically
Yeah,
condition.
yeah,
It's a lot more subtle, though. It is a lot more
I
subtle, and I think it is. I think it is important as a hypothetical. Um,
I don't know. I think that's a little bit too extreme because it's not
why?
it's not like these women are they're not able to achieve these higher paying jobs. Like in Brave New World, you are this class, and there's almost no chance of you
Again, back to the glass ceiling.
higher.
Yes, they are able. They are able. It is a fragile ceiling. Okay, they are physically able. They are societally able. There's nothing lawfully.
New World isn't.
Huh?
I said, and in Brave New World, it isn't.
Sure. Do you think this? But the crux of the argument was that the thing that mattered, okay, in this
Uh,
is that since these people were happy in the class, they didn't even want to go up, they didn't want to go down, they hated everybody hated every class that wasn't their own, right? Since they're happy like that, is that okay? That was my question.
um,
That was the point of the question. Yes, there are obviously differences between our world and Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, right? Obviously.
yeah.
But the question that mattered was that just because they're happy, does that justify it?
Um, well, I guess you could argue that in Brave New World to the extreme that it is, and like because it is a dystopian society.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could argue that
Uh, Aldous Huxley. No, never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
um, and that it is a dystopian society and it's supposed to be set that way. For it's like yeah, but I don't know, you could say that there is some influence from outer things, but it's not it's not predetermined. It's not like okay, Susie, you're a housewife. Mary, you're a petroleum engineer. Actually, no, you're a
Yes,
housewife
that's what I'm
too.
saying. That's
Uh,
what I'm saying. It's a lot more subtle than that. It's a lot more subtle than that. It is not. It is not like. It is not like in Brave New World where we're whispering in the beds. You're gonna be a housewife, okay? And you're gonna fucking love it. You're not gonna want to be. You're not gonna want to be a CEO, right? Like, and it's not like that where it is in Brave New World. But again, it's obviously a lot more subtle, okay? But again, the argument, the question itself was what mattered was that just because they're happy for it, okay, they don't really want to go up, they don't want to go down, okay? Just because of that, is it okay to keep on doing it because everybody's happy? Is that
sure,
okay with you?
sure. Ethically, I guess in the Brave New World case, no, but sure.
Why? Wait, you think that's fine? Do you
What
think most people would agree with that?
if everyone is happy? I mean, if everyone is fine, of course,
I'm sorry.
very of course it is extreme and it is not okay in the case of Brave New World. But I would say that generally, if everyone is happy and no one is really getting the short end of the stick
But they're
for no reason, because
but nobody.
I don't
Wait.
believe it. Do you believe that women are getting the short end of the stick for a certain reason?
Yes.
Like,
Yes, financially, yes. Especially when they especially when they're sorry, continue.
do you think that
Yes.
today, women are conditioned more so to be a housewife than you could argue that in the
I think they're
like
conditioned a lot more. I think it's a lot more subtly conditioned to not go to not negotiate, to not be very aggressive with how they want to go up in the workforce. Yes, I do think that, because I don't think it's genetic. So the only other factor would be that it is societal. Yes,
I
that is
like
the crux of
I don't know,
it. If you want to, if you think it's genetic, I'd be happy to hear your argument, but I don't think it's genetic.
like I don't know, like I like you could I don't think that in today's society with the huge movements that are going on because people believe that men are just like substantially more well off than women for no reason whatsoever. There is some
Yeah, I'm not
con.
saying no reason. I'm saying the environments in which
Let me
we're
continue.
raised.
I'm not
Oh,
saying
sorry.
that you were saying this. I'm not saying that you were saying this. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay.
like
Sorry, my bad. My bad. Go ahead.
very, very extreme, all men are rapists, fucking feminist shit. You know what I mean? Like that really extreme shit. You know, radical as hell, right? And like they're making all these movements, and like now, like when you look at like what I would say, like when you look at like general, like let's say films or like just TV, I'd say that generally it's not the woman is the housewife. It's that the woman also works and both parents go to work and they both earn um like regular incomes. Whether the man makes more than the woman is not stated, and there's no, unless it's like a legitimate show based off that premise. Like I'd say that in today's society, it's quite progressive, and that uh, there are already these measures, like what's the term, saying that like women aren't this housewife anymore. They're these independent people. So I believe that this generation is growing up with those views rather than these women are housewives. You disagree? Hello? Uh, okay. Uh, Ham? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
What happened?
I was okay. What is the last thing you heard me say?
I was just going on like some tangent. You were just silent. So I guess whatever you said before I went started going on that tangent.
Okay. What I said afterwards, okay, was that do you concede that um do you concede that it is societal, right? And that previous generations did have these mindsets that women should work lower paying jobs, right? You concede that?
Um, Not necessarily lower paying jobs,
Wait, no,
but
I would argue that yes, necessarily, because you just said that today's world is a lot more progressive. So that would make it so that the previous
sure. At some,
generations are a lot more regressive,
I
right?
don't like. I still don't see a like like. Of course, it's the like ideal that like pushes so many women to be like housewives is you
Mm-hmm.
could say bad. Right? Like I believe that you can make that argument. Yes. No.
Sure. One second. Let me put my headset on. Wait, I need to do a test. Okay, you can hear me, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'm gonna put my headset on and tell me if you can hear me.
Okay. Uh, yeah,
Holy shit! Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay.
Hear you
Could you
now.
hear me previously?
When I believe you put your headset on, no.
Okay, that's fine. Continue. I'm sorry. Let me take away this headset. Go ahead.
What's called? Yes, at one point these were ideals, and yes, these influence women's choices. I concede to that, I guess. But
Okay.
like, is like if they are perfectly happy, it's not like what's called like are there any very negative effects that there are women in lower paying jobs? Like, is this inherently negative? That there
Wait,
are more
were
men?
there really? Wait, hold on. Were there like negative effects, like tangible negative effects for slavery or something? Like,
What?
surely there are like some happy slaves, right? Therefore,
Are,
we shouldn't have abolished
are you
slavery, I guess.
are you saying that women are slaves?
No, no, that's not the point, and you know that's not the point. I know you're smarter than that, and you know that's not the point. My point is that realistically, right, the happiness doesn't really matter.
How come?
Again, we could go back to the Aldous Huxley Brave New World. Everybody's happy. They
Wait,
don't
wait,
want.
wait,
They
wait, wait,
love
wait.
where
Back,
they live.
back to slavery. Back to slavery. No, 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 no,
Okay.
no. Sure, there were happy slaves, but most were very unhappy. Like, I think you could agree.
Wait,
The
wait. So
vast
like when women, hold on.
majority
Wait, so when
were
women
unhappy
are like
with.
making new movements, right? Like third wave feminism, they're just like really happy that they're they're societally
What?
fucking huh?
What?
So like when women are making like movements similar to like third wave feminism, for example, they're just incredibly happy with their housewife status. I assume is that like what you're gonna say? You're like, like, would you
No,
not argue
I
that
mean,
there are a lot of people that are unhappy with the current? Or
do you believe that third wave feminism is based off of just I'm unhappy that I'm a housewife and not just like a
no,
complete
I think it's more based off
misunderstanding?
of that. Well, obviously there are a lot of ideas within third wave feminism that doesn't necessarily have to do with women's rights, right? Like gender being a social construct and stuff like that. Um, which is fine, I guess. They're interesting ideas. I don't really like those ideas, but whatever. Anyway, but a lot of people are so like pushing for societal equality, right? And trying to end these stigmas, right? Like free the like free the tit or whatever, or free the boob or whatever that
What?
movement was. You
I
remember free the boob or whatever, where like women would just like go out because like it's inequality that like men fucking
oh
have fucking
It's free the
what
nipple.
can show their
yeah,
nipples and
free the
women
nipple or
can't? Is
whatever.
that it? I don't remember that being a movement, but I've heard the concept before. That's like fucked up
Yeah,
or something.
whatever. It was like a little like spiel or whatever for feminism or whatever. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of a meme.
generally is what I'm saying is that there are people that are incredibly unhappy with this. Um, so yeah,
Well, do you believe that that is just because that they cannot escape this housewife role? Like, like, are they
again,
just
the
kind of like
glass ceiling.
stuck in this
Yes, they can,
never-ending?
right? Of course, they can. Um, it's just that they're
Do you believe
disincentivized
that it
or
is
they're not really raised the way.
significantly? Do you believe that it is significantly harder to get a higher paying job because they are a woman compared to, like if they were a
Yes,
man, they
the
would
way
just
they're
like
raised, sure.
sleep
I
in
would
the.
argue that. Yes. And
How come?
if well, women, if you read the one of the things, women generally perform well in different environments comparatively to men, right? Wait,
Okay,
what?
yeah.
Wait, 1 second. Why did you at me, Sterling?
Oh no, that was because it was like when you were like AFK and shit.
Oh, my headset must have like spieled out or whatever. Okay. Anyway, where was I? Can you tell me where I was? Sorry.
Uh, shit.
Oh, Jesus. Fuck.
uh,
Um,
fuck. What was the concept you were talking about?
The
Oh,
glass
oh,
ceiling.
all
Sorry.
right.
Yes, glass ceiling. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
glass ceiling, glass
the
ceiling.
way that women are raised, they generally prefer different environments comparatively to men, right? And these environments
Okay.
are in the way they're raised, right?
Do they prefer these environments because of genetics or because of social
If I'm
stuff?
not mistaken, it was social, right? Um, but if I'm
So
not
so like
mistaken, yes, it
like
was.
like
It was.
like do you know what social influence makes women lean towards like a
Represent.
different environment than a man?
So not exactly, right? But again, how people treat them, right?
Oh,
Stigmatization.
wait. Also, could you name what environments women prefer comparatively to men?
Sure. If you want, I could. I'm gonna. While I'm talking, I'm gonna read over this. So, representation in media, right? Again, more diverse character traits for women.
Yeah.
These are just some. I'm not saying these are all. Okay, these are just some things, right? More diverse traits, character traits for women, right? Um, the way they're raised, the like things that attitudes they develop during childhood, stigmatization, things relating to that, essentially.
And this makes them prefer what environment?
Again, I'm reading this because
Okay.
honestly, I haven't debated this in a while, so I forgot a lot
Okay.
of my
Fair.
points.
Okay, be fine.
Yeah, sorry. Participation is sustainable. So at meetings, for example, right?
Hmm.
Like people, even when they are in higher positions in meetings, they are less likely than men to substantially participate. The the reason this is for verbatim. Okay, the reason is down to a variety of social and political factors in how women and men participate in meetings. Meetings are generally oh holy shit like am I talking too fast by the way because I feel
No,
like
no,
I
no.
can't like
You're
get a
fine.
breath in. Holy shit. Okay. Women's lack of participation in important decision making is noted as an obstacle to sustainable development. Basically, the point of this article is to say that gender parity is not equal to gender equality, right? Um, whew, okay. These environments are like meetings, for example. Again, even with women that are in higher positions, they are just not preferred. Again, they are because of societal and political factors.
What
If you
makes them not preferred? You never stated this.
wait, what?
You said uh like me like women are less likely
Likely,
to
they're less likely to
due
participate
to
in
social
meetings.
political things do along with meetings. Like what? Like you can't just
Okay,
say it's
sorry.
political.
Sorry. Okay, I'll talk a bit slower. Okay,
Like maybe I
even
didn't
when
catch it, it's like retarded, but
even when women are present at meetings, they're still
uh
consistently less likely than men to substantively um, participate. The
why?
reason, that's what I'm saying. The reason is down to a variety of social and political factors and how men and women participate in meetings. Okay.
I mean, like, what am I supposed to get from that?
they the environments that are a
Social
lot
and
in
political
higher
factors.
positions the
Like,
environments the environments oh are because the reasons why they're less likely to
yeah,
substantiate
it's like social political factors.
yeah a
I
variety again
like
I just read the summary because again I haven't read this in a while so I forgot a
like
lot of the points
no,
i
no
i
offense,
only read
but like
i,
you
I
can take
only read to
literally
you
anything in the world and say
I
it's
only
social. It's social and political. Dude. Like,
but this is what it specifically says. I'm sorry. Again, I have not read this in a while, so I can't. Unless you want me to read the entire thing right now, um, which would take a while. Like this would take a while. But I can read it like the entire thing, and you know, jot down notes if you'd like. I just haven't read this in a while because I have not debated this specific topic in a while. So I only read the fucking summary. If you want more than that, like you're gonna have to let me like read through this entire thing. And I don't think that's like
how about we just get back to this later? Is that okay?
That's fine. Sure, that's fine.
Let's see. So
By the way, that wasn't a sigh. That was just me like actually breathing because I've
yeah,
so
it's
fucking
fine, it's
fast.
fine. What's it called? So what's that? You believe that women should just be in uh like you believe that women should on average make the same as men?
I believe that that would yes. If they're if it's ideal, men and women should be able to hold their own. They should be able to have the same opportunities, right? They should not be subtly conditioned into this. Yes, that is
Into
what I
choosing
generally think.
one job over
Huh?
another? Into
What?
choosing one job over another?
Yeah, I don't think they should be conditioned into that. No.
Uh, I mean, I don't think anyone should be conditioned into like wanting
Wait,
any job,
wait.
but it's like,
I thought you said you understood what determinism is. Previous experiences dictate what ways you react to experiences in the future.
yeah.
Right?
But,
Um,
but
maybe I used conditioning wrong. I'm sorry
do
if
you
I
have a
did.
problem? What problem do you have with my statement? Because maybe you just like misunderstood me.
Can you
I
repeat
wasn't.
the statement?
I said, well, I don't. I guess I don't like. I guess like I agree. I don't believe that anyone should be conditioned into like one job over another.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were questioning like what what I meant by. Okay, my bad. Sorry, I apologize. Um, so you agree to that, or
Uh, sure. Like I believe, like I mean, sure. 'Cause, like I guess I could affect.
wait? So if you
Like,
agree to that, do you agree that women are conditioned differently to men that are generally a lot less successful in jobs,
like
financially successful?
okay, why? Do you
This is
believe
what
that
I'm
there's
calling.
a system against
This is
women?
a push for a
Like
concession because you just agreed with something that
I,
would only lead to.
I understand. I'm
Okay.
now going to you know, test my basketball skills.
Fuck 1%.
Do you believe there's a system against women?
Do I believe there is a what?
Like some sort of system against women that wants women in
No,
these roles.
just like back in like the 19 well, again, it's
Like,
not like
like,
it's not
do you
exactly like
believe that this
fucking
is
Brave New
like
World where there's a system where each fucking baby has like somebody whispering into their ear each night telling them to pick less successful
the
jobs,
Nile
right?
River is the longest river in somewhere?
Yeah, like that. Like obviously, not being literal towards that, but it is a lot more. It is a lot more subtle societally. Yes, I would agree to that. Again, back to the 1950s, we have come a long way towards that from that because we have societally changed. Not even necessarily lawfully changed, right? But just societally changed, right?
Like okay, so off the topic of them just being conditioned, do you think that just like stating that on average women make less than men, do you believe that that's like bad? Like do you think that it's just generally like just like
Yes, I
very
think
bad that the average man makes more? Like do you think there's anything inherently negative about men making more money? Not because of them making more money no matter what, but because they simply work higher paying jobs. Do you think there's anything
it
bad
doesn't seem very
with that?
yeah. So like since it's not genetic,
It
right?
doesn't seem. Wait. Did you say that it doesn't seem fair?
To me, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't seem fair that men make more money because they do more work.
No, it doesn't seem fair because men make more money because they're Oh my god, I feel like I'm like a fucking broken
Dude,
record.
I'm trying
Okay,
to prop
I'm
up
sorry.
something, dude.
I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but again, they're simply socially conditioned to perform better, which I don't think is a very fair thing, right? Not this is not to say, right? Like success, right? Um, not everybody has to be a fucking millionaire, right? The
Yeah,
people on garbage trucks taking out our garbage each Thursday, okay, is a very important job. Or mechanics, you know, putting in correctly screwing in fucking what are those called, bolts in our tires, right? That's a very important job, and it is incredibly successful, right? I'm not saying everybody has to be a fucking millionaire, but when there's a 30% disparity, I would argue that is
what the
pretty bad.
fuck?
What?
Ooh, I'm sorry.
70 cents to a dollar. Wait.
I,
Did you
I'm
not? Did you not? Wait, I'm sorry. Tell me, please. Did you not
maybe I'm like
acknowledge?
confused right here.
Wait, did you not acknowledge? Did you not acknowledge that earlier, on average, men make more money than women? Did you not acknowledge
Uh,
that?
on sorry, I, my bad. I thought you were like exploding that 7% and seeing if you can get away with it, and then I
Oh
realized
no no
that
no
you were
no!
referring to
I'm
like
saying
the
on
on
average
average.
because again
Yeah,
that was
my bad,
undecided.
my bad. Continue on.
Yeah, that
My
was
bad.
undecided. I would
I
argue
was
that a
like, what
disparity.
the fuck? Okay, Ham, you
No
can get away
no,
with lots
I'm
of
not
things.
using 7% because that's undecided because we aren't really looking through those.
Yeah.
Um, but a 30% disparity is fucking gigantic. Okay, if this was towards Hispanics, blacks, etc., which I would argue is even worse, but whatever. Like you would be like, holy shit, this is really bad. Like, yes, 30% is fucking gigantic. Like, yeah.
I mean, like, do you think that like men, like, do you believe that it's just like kind of consistent across everything, or do you think it has like some like a good deal to do with most
Wait,
like
can you clarify what that means?
millionaires?
I'm sorry. Can you clarify what that
What?
means? Can you
Like do you
clarify what
believe
that
that it
means?
just has to do with like just on like a mediocre job level that most men have better
I would argue,
like
yeah, probably. I feel like men would probably
believe that
move up the
or do you
workforce.
think that
They
because
would
they're
move
more
up.
very wealthy men that kind of tip the scale?
They would probably move up the workforce a lot easier again because they negotiate wages a lot better. I would argue yes, based on everything I've seen. Yes, they probably do move up the workforce a lot better. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm confused. Did you ever like explain what social conditioning pushes men to like
Um.
want
So
higher wages?
general.
Maybe
Oh my god. I know I sound really like general right now because I don't really have like the specifics right now because again I haven't argued this in a while. Um. But generally, just the attitudes that they are in childhood. You know. Whew, that in childhood they are um they're generally as childs their attitudes are conditioned. Maybe I'm using conditioned, maybe that's too much of an extreme word because again you think of like fucking like Aldous Huxley, right, where it's like
yeah.
classical conditioning.
But like
But
I still
social
understand what
factors that end up affecting somebody, right? Social and political factors that end up affecting somebody and how they work, right?
uh wait, did I miss something? Was that like are we agreeing on a definition or?
Yeah. Like when I'm saying
Yeah,
conditioning,
look, I
right?
can
I'm
agree
not
with that.
using it
Like
like
that's
holy
what
shit, they're fucking whispering in
conditioning
my
this
ears,
context
man.
means. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. We're agreeing that it's not like I'm not using it as an extreme thing. It's like very subtle, right?
Yeah, yeah, Ham. Personally, like I don't have like much to support this, but do you think that like I believe it's 498 out of like the Fortune 500 companies are owned by men, right? And like, do you think that like having so many men in these very high paying jobs could tip the scales
Uh-huh.
any, or do you think that it's just kind of
Probably.
called, or like do you think that it's
Probably.
kind of, like, consistent on like every level of income that men just generally make?
I would actually have to like reread where that 70 cents to a dollar shit came from. I would have to reread that and how they like did they just pool all the fucking money anybody has ever made? That's probably not how they did it, right? So would
Uh,
it can it
that's
tip
fair.
the scales? Maybe. But um like especially if it was like pooling all the money anyone has ever made, it would tip the scales, right? But like I don't know
Yeah.
exactly how they conducted it, so I'm not entirely sure.
You actually, that's fair. Yeah. Um.
But I do acknowledge that it could be that that did tip the scales very slightly. Yes.
hmm, Um. And do you believe that kind of this ideal of the housewife is the only contributing factor to
No, of course
just
not.
women generally making
Of
less?
course not.
Or
Like I said,
uh,
media stigmatization.
well, yeah, but
There's a
yeah,
lot
but
of
the stigmatization also go along with that one.
you're saying all those would play into like the housewife? Well, no,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
are like
I believe they
not
would.
everybody. No, it wouldn't necessarily only play into the housewife thing, right?
Well,
It would just that be.
generally, of course, there are very of course there are very
Unless you
niche
think, are
examples,
you
but
just
are
saying
there
housewife
any?
as in like a submissive person that,
I would say submissive, but just kind of it is the man of the family that is supporting them. Generally, not the woman. The woman is taking care of the kids while the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is working is
Or,
nine.
or not even necessarily that, but like in stories, right? Like women are generally supporting characters, right? Like or something, right? Like they're supporting characters
Well,
rather than the people that go headstrong for frontline, you know, killing all the monsters or whatever, right?
I will. I don't think that necessarily has to do with
I think that would
the
kind of I don't know, maybe not, perhaps not.
I think that's more of a just not necessarily because women are this submissive housewife or anything. I think that's more that men are generally bigger and stronger than women. So it's kind of if you're playing
Hey,
a video
can we
fuego, right?
can we get can we get our final statements in because my mom's home
Wait,
I kind of want to finish this quickly. So
let me finish it. So if you're playing a video fuego, right? You expect the boss to be this large behemoth who holds a lot of power and not not
but wouldn't you agree that also plays
fucking
into
kid.
my argument, right? That supports my argument.
Um I guess you could argue that. Sure, go ahead. If you
So
think
like they
that supports your argument.
since men are generally seen as a lot more strong and you know um
Yeah,
what's
but
the word?
strong physically. I wouldn't say that pays
Make your final statement. I'm out of here, Bucko.
uh I believe that it is fine that women are paid less than men because they simply work um jobs that make less. Sure, there are some factors that play into that, but I don't believe that that is the end all be all. That because of this, there's that big of a gap.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So,
Work local
my final
jobs
statement. This is
because
basically the summary of my argument. A
yeah,
culmination. After this, Zach, you can stop recording. A culmination of childhood factors, right, and how society treats women. Not necessarily just like that one Mario game where you Bowser is a guy. You know that makes all women suddenly become like housewives, right? I'm not
fucking
saying
Princess
that,
Peach
but
oh my god.
a culmination of all these media, all this media, you know, pushing towards this specific role, right? That would probably play a lot into what people do, or yeah. So, um, yeah, like being more submissive, for example, asking less for for better wages, you know, things like that. You know, in negotiating with your boss, things like that. Um, so yeah,
Can I also just say something?
sure,
But
yeah.
me if I'm
After
wrong,
this,
but I
we're
believe that the number of the supposed wage cap that's blank to $1. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is going down because we have kind of left that are
yeah,
starting
of
to
course.
leave that kind of thing that
Yeah,
ideal.
which is great, which is great.
So
I'm saying that's
like
great.
I'd say that's just more kind of like a like like kind of something like we
In which
viewed
you continue to
slavery
push for
as
that,
okay,
right?
right? And then we were like, wait, what the fuck? No, you know what I
Uh,
mean?
yeah, sure. Okay. Well, that was. I think that was like
Oh,
pretty
Ham, your mom's a cutie.
epic. Hey,
Gosh
I
damn
think
it.
this is like
So
genuinely
random.
one of your best debates ever. Okay, you didn't act like a retard. I think you brought up like decent points. Um, well, comparatively to your other debates. So,
Kill the
um,
retard. Eat
yeah.
them.
So
Cannibalism, dude. I'm perfectly
yeah.
fine with
So
slaughtering an
so
entire
so,
indigenous people, dude.
so good job, man. Good job.
Oh yeah, dude.
Compared to your other debates, you did good, man. Good job. See you, man. Bye.
Yeah, at least I didn't just say yes,
Means you
him. Yes,
defeated
him.
him.
No, I wait.
Was that a
I still won that, by the way. But
How how do you
I
feel that
did.
you've finally defeated the undefeated Ham?
I still won
Feels
that
pretty
debate.
good. I know,
No,
I just said that he did better than usual.
that means that he's won. Anybody who hasn't been put down in shame immediately after the debate is pretty much a victory.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
that's a win in my book. I don't know about you. I'm not saying that's an L in your book, but that's a win in my book.
But I am right. That's like the only viable.
Yeah.
You look more like a retard arguing against this than just simply agreeing. Yeah. Can we get our final statements in because my mom's home?